Lion Nation, a pleasant hello to you all out there. It is my privilege to be here today and have a one-on-one with JSerra Catholic High School's new head football coach. His resume as accomplished as they come. 16 years in the NFL, he's a 5-time Pro Bowler, one of the most recognizable names over the last quarter century. He's also now a CIF state champion coach. It is our privilege to bring to you head coach Hardy Nickerson. Coach Nickerson, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you, Jason.
I know it's been a whirlwind. It's been one of those quick, like, oh, I'm here type of things. But I just wanted to get your initial impressions of JSerra Catholic High School. When you walk on this campus, what's the feeling that comes to you?
So when I walked onto the campus, I just felt like, man, this is such a great institution. I mean, the facilities on the academic side, the athletic side, just so much to offer. So that was, man, it was so refreshing to come on campus. Everyone I encountered was just, man, on top of it, just top notch. It's refreshing to be in this setting and be around people and be around a school community where everyone's working together and everyone's pushing for the same goal, and that's to provide some excellence for our students.
Got to keep that going then. Now, I wanted to take a little look back on your football journey and your pathway to this moment here. Your journey started in Compton, California, if I'm not mistaken there.
Yeah, things started for me in Compton, California. Went to high school in Watts. Went to a small Catholic school called Verbum Day. Back in the day, before I arrived at Verbum Day, it had been known as a basketball superpower. I mean, guys were going from Verbum Day to UCLA. There's one of the greatest street legends in basketball that went to Verbum Day, Raymond Lewis. So you had Raymond Lewis, you had Roy Hamilton, David Greenwood, man, just all these guys, Cliff Pruitt. So all these guys that came through Verbum Day went on to UCLA, won national championships. So that was the reputation of the school. My class, we walked in, we were saying, hey, we playing football. We're gonna make a name for the school in football. And great experience. I left high school winning 2 section championships. We had a 25-game winning streak. We were doing it all. At that time, it was the longest winning streak in the state. And so, man, that's where I'm from. Very proud of it. My teammates from high school were still best friends to this day. And it was just a special time, a special place that really, helped shape all the young men that were there.
I think you mentioned something that's like a brotherhood. Yeah. And that's obviously something that in high school is very important. And obviously it carried you a long way. When you go back and you think about those times, what do you think started that? How did that kind of build? You talked about the school not being a football power, but you got to start somewhere. And then it starts to snowball into that. What was the factor that kind of led to that?
I think the leadership from the start. We had great coaches. Lalo Mendoza, the late Lalo Mendoza, legendary coach here in Southern California, won over 200 games in his career. His staff, he had his brothers, Bob Mendoza, Elio Mendoza, other coaches like Pete Morato was a defensive coordinator, was way ahead of, man, he was drawing up stuff that, that was professional level, getting us in the right spots, teaching us accountability. Ernie Chavez was another coach. Just teaching us discipline, being able to do our jobs over and over again, the accountability, the reliability, being resilient. We had something as simple as our conditioning that we did as a team. It was building us, building that brotherhood, building that toughness so that we could look each other in the eye and say, hey, Harold, I got your back. And Harold would look back at me and say, I got your back. So just that, those little things like that. We did community runs. We ran through the streets of Watts, and the neighbors there, they got to know us. And if we for some reason we didn't do a community run as a team, when we did it the next time, they're like, hey, where were you guys yesterday? So that built that camaraderie, built community, and boy, it's strengthened our brotherhood.
Now you leave high school as a two-time CIF champion, and you take that resiliency and that brotherhood and a lot of those traits to Northern California, University of California at Berkeley.
Yeah.
Just talk about your college journey there, building upon what you were able to do in high school.
Yeah.
And when you get there as a Golden Bear, your time there at Cal.
So my time at Cal, was great. Academically, one of the best schools in the country. It's always rated as one of the best public universities in the world. Take a lot of pride in that.
Hell yeah.
But we didn't quite have the success I had in high school at the college level. But all those things that I learned in high school carried me through college. From being accountable to, doing time management, doing the work in the classroom, getting it done on time, not being late to anything. Those kind of, minute things you think, that's not big, but yeah, it is big. And that helped me, the discipline of being focused on those things that are gonna help you become successful. So I took those things that I learned on the field in high school and started applying it into everyday life as a student, and all of that. And it helped keep me on the right path, so very super grateful for that. In college, athletically, I was all conference player for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Set school records in tackles, single season marks, all that, and was always on like All-American lists, or when they break down the top 10 high school or college linebackers at their positions or whatnot. I was always on those lists, and I just took pride in playing hard and being tough on the field, making plays and making a positive impact on my team.
Now, was there a moment when you were at Cal that you sat down and said, I have a good chance to do this on the professional level? Was there one moment, or was it more of, as I continue to grow and build my skills, I know that I can be successful on the next level?
For me, I kind of I didn't really think about the NFL too much because I was so focused on the academics and how I could improve as a football player. It wasn't until after one of our practices, my junior year, one of my teammates, he was hurt, so he was he was watching the practice from a sideline, and he said, "Hey man, a coach from the New York Jets, or a scout from the New York Jets was at our practice. They really like you." And I was like, "Who, me?" I was oblivious, right? So that was my first taste of, man, I might be able to move on and might have an opportunity to play in the NFL.
Now, that taste of the NFL became official. I'll take you back, April of 1987. It's the 5th round of the NFL draft.
Yeah.
In New York City, and making the announcements there. Pick 122 is announced, and it is the Pittsburgh Steelers that hold that pick.
Yeah.
And you hear the name Hardy Nickerson. That is a feeling that I know a lot of people don't get to experience.
Oh, yeah.
What was that moment like for you, hearing that an NFL team has now officially picked you to join their roster?
It was super exciting moment for me and my family. You know, I had that was spring semester at Cal, so I had come home for the draft, and my agent at the time was saying, so, you know, I was asking him, so where do you think I'm going to go? You know, he was like, well, he had talked to a scout and a couple GMs, and they said, well, he's got a range anywhere from third round to the fifth round. And so I'm thinking, okay, you know, so we turn on the draft, we're watching the draft, all that. We're sitting there watching from round 1 to round 3. Round 3 came and went. Round 4, at the end of round 4, I started getting calls from some of the teams. I got a call from the Niners, got a call from the Colts, and so my dad started saying, "Oh, okay, where are you going to end up?" And then, lo and behold, that round ended, and then the 5th round rolled around, and I got a call from Chuck Noll, head coach, Pittsburgh Steelers, welcoming me to their team. So that was like, wow, this is, you know, it was a surreal moment for me, because growing up, I was a Steeler fan. I loved Joe Green.
Oh yeah.
I loved Jack Lambert. You know, growing up as a kid, I wanted to be Jack Lambert.
And they were the team at that point.
That was the team. Those were my guys. And so that moment of getting drafted there was like, wow, it couldn't have gone to a better team. And the fact that it was my favorite team just made it, oh man.
Now at that point, they didn't have caller ID, so you couldn't see Pittsburgh Steelers on the call.
No,
so it really was a mystery at that point. Now you come in as a rookie.
Yeah.
You're a 5th round pick. Mm-hmm. So obviously you know that there's nothing guaranteed. And if you want this thing to work out, you got to build off of those traits that we talked about earlier: resiliency, hard work, the brotherhood of when you get to your teammates, you guys are working together.
Yeah.
Take us through how you were able to kind of work yourself up into a prominent role with the Steelers, and what it was like as you continued to climb that ladder.
So I was drafted. I had to earn my keep. I had to earn my spot on the team. As a 5th round draft pick, nothing's guaranteed. You got to come in, you got to work, you got to earn it. And Chuck Noll was one of those old school coaches he was all about earning it. He was all about the fundamentals. You know, for him, which was great for me, once you were drafted, it didn't matter who you were or what round you were taken in.
Nameless and faceless, right?
Yeah. He just coached everybody up the same way. So I was amazed at when I got into training camp, some of my teammates were older guys like Mike Webster and John Stallworth, Donnie Shell.
Yeah.
I was amazed that he coached them no different than he was coaching me. So in that setting, he's pouring into us. Man, I soaked it all up, you know. And I got a little tip that he said one day in a meeting: "You want to make the football team? Do it on special teams." He was talking to the whole group of rookies, and that really sunk in with me. He was saying, "Hey, if you're good enough, earn it here, and you'll get opportunities." That's what I heard. So I went to work. I started on all the special teams. I did all of that. Scout team in practice, I was a menace. Every opportunity I had, I tried to maximize those opportunities. And so for me early on, it was all about maximizing the opportunities I had. And I did that. And by the end of the year, I was getting worked into the rotation. And then my second year, I became the starter. You know, I hate that one of the older guys that was ahead of me my rookie year was one of the greatest vets, greatest teammates you could ever want to have. His name was Robin Cole, and he was from Compton too.
Oh, okay.
So here I am, this rookie, and this older vet who had he's played like 14 years in the NFL. And here I come in, and I'm the young guy. He had two choices. He could welcome me in as the young guy and show me the ropes, or he could do the old vet thing and just turn around like I didn't exist.
Yep.
He took the route of, hey, you're a young guy, man. We're from the same area. I'm gonna show you the ropes. He took me under his wing.
That's awesome.
And he taught me how to be a pro, along with Donnie Shell and John Stallworth. You know, those guys taught me how to be a professional.
Now you climbing the ropes, you're making a name for yourself. You're getting that mentoring from those older players, and now you're putting it out there and putting some great film together and some really good years together. The 1992 season comes to a close.
Yeah.
And you have an opportunity to now see what your value is in terms of the next part of your career.
Yeah.
And I just want you to kind of explain what that process was like. Obviously now in the NFL, we all know free agency is around.
Yeah.
Every March, who are teams gonna bring in?
Yes.
1992 was a little bit different at that point, heading into the 93 season.
Yes.
What was that process like, and what was your part in helping free agency come to the way it is now?
That's a great question. So when I entered the league, my rookie year, we went on strike. And it was for players' rights, benefits, and part of the fight was for free agency. Well, that didn't work out so well at that time. But later on, as a players association, players union, we started filing lawsuits for free agency. And in that process, I had put my name on some of the lawsuits, like for free agency and for better benefits, pension plan, all that stuff. Well, we get to a point during 1992 where the Players Association was trying, okay, we won this suit in this area, now we're gonna go full bore after free agency. And I was asked to be the named plaintiff. One of the named plaintiffs.
Oh, you get your name on a piece of
got
paper?
My name on a piece of paper. So if you ever look up that case, you see my Reggie White. So it's called Reggie White versus the NFL. But I was one of the 6 named plaintiffs on that really forced free agency. The league settled on that case. That spring we had free agency. So I got the opportunity to leave Pittsburgh and go wherever I wanted, right? So I took my when I became a free agent, I took my visits. I really wanted to be a Raider at that time, and the Raiders were down here in Los Angeles at that time.
Coming home at that point.
I thought I was going to make a homecoming. So I took a trip to the Raiders, took a trip to San Diego. My next trip was to Tampa Bay, and Tampa had they had nothing. They hadn't had a winning season in
Leroy Selman, and that was pretty much
how many years.
Oh yeah.
So I take that trip there, and when I get there, I was surprised. I said, this could be a really nice place for me to play. I told my agent, I'm thinking about Tampa Bay after that trip. He thought I was crazy. But there was something inside of me that said, this could be a great place for you. And so I followed my intuition. I told my agent I wanted to play here. We worked out a deal, and I became a Buccaneer. So free agency, in the olden days, a team had your rights literally until you died. With free agency, I was able to move from Pittsburgh, go to Tampa Bay, and that's when things really lit up for me professionally.
Now you get to Tampa Bay, 93, a fantastic year for you as well. I'll tell you a quick story as a San Francisco 49er fan. we got the better of Tampa Bay back in those days, but I do remember 9, 10-year-old me, this name, tackle on the play, Hardy Nickerson. You hear that name a lot. You still hold an NFL record tackles wise.
Yeah.
What is it like to hold that particular record to this day?
It's pretty special, especially now that they've added a couple extra games. But it's pretty special. When they roll out the records, roll out the record book, and you start looking at the stats for every category, it's pretty fun to see my name as a single season tackles leader in NFL.
That's 214.
214 tackles. That's a lot.
That's definitely a lot. And as you're building in Tampa Bay, again, it was a team that had not had a lot of success.
Yeah.
So the foundations had to be built from the ground.
Yeah.
The team starts to get a little bit better, And by 1997, you get some reinforcements, some things start to come together.
Yeah.
And now you are the veteran on a team with younger talent there. So it kind of comes full circle.
Oh, yeah.
What was that like as you made that transition into your career as being the guy who now, I have a Warren Sapp and players like that, and you are now giving what you've learned along the way?
It was for me, that was a way of giving back. For those guys that were older than me in Pittsburgh, how they deposited into me and cared about me and showed me how to be a professional. I felt like that was my responsibility when I got in that position. When I went to Tampa Bay, I was the big ticket free agent. John Lynch was drafted as a third round draft pick. So he and I entered at the same time in Tampa. Got a chance to, I was that guy that encouraged him early on. Because things were kind of rough. I was thinking about playing baseball. I was that guy that said, "Hey man, don't give up on this too soon." You really have a bright future here.
I'm glad he listened to you.
And he listened. And then later on, 2 years later, we draft Warren Sapp and Derrick Brooks. Derrick Brooks, a linebacker.
Yeah.
He sat next to me in every meeting we had for, that was like 5 years. He said the greatest impact I had on him was how I treated the game, how I prepared. In the meeting rooms, I always had a pen and a notebook. And as a rookie, he came in and he saw that lit a fire underneath him saying, "Oh, I gotta have my pen and my notebook. And not only do I have to have that, when coach is talking, I need to be writing something down." So helping him become a student of the game. Warren Sapp, we played different positions, but the leadership I provided for him was a little bit different.
Yep.
Helping him with some of the influences that are outside of football, stuff like that. And really just being that guy on the field on game days. Expressing himself with all that stuff. That was fun. So I felt like here I was, the older guy, depositing into these guys. And shoot, all three are Hall of Famers. I'd like to say I had a little bit to do with it.
We will definitely give you credit
Just a little
for that.
bit.
So again, you're giving back, you're mentoring. That 1997 Tampa Bay, different than the 93 and 94. Trust me, as a 49er fan, who are these guys and why are they're beating us now? You get so close to getting to that Super Bowl. 1990, I know it's
1999.
1999.
Yes.
You're playing the greatest show on turf, Rams, NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
You're 30 seconds away from winning in a 6-5 game.
6-5 game.
And I know the name Ricky Prohl is a painful name to bring
He
up.
still has not. He has not caught that pass. He did not have possession when he went out of bounds.
And our new rules today, I think you might be right on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
There were a couple plays. Bertie Manuel caught a key third down, had a key third down reception. And it would have kept the drive alive, and we're probably going to go down and score. He catches the ball, has it secure, but he lands on the ground. Ball doesn't move. Secure, and he lands on the ground, and part of the ball touched the ground. At that time, the rule was if you caught the ball and any part of the ball touched the ground, it's incomplete. So they called that pass incomplete, and that killed the drive. We might have scored, win the Super Bowl.
I'll tell you a secret. I was rooting so hard for Tampa Bay. I wanted you guys to win that one really, really, really bad. Knowing the journey that the team had been on, I thought it was impressive. Because again, this has been a team that hadn't won and had built itself into this powerful, powerful team. And to come that close, even though I know you guys didn't get over the hump, I know that speaks a lot about who you are and what you bring to the table in terms of your football journey. Now, you end your career. Green Bay was the last stop for you. When you were kind of wrapping up and you felt this could be it, did you have an eye that coaching would be the next part of your journey?
Oh, no. Coaching was the furthest thing in my mind. That's because Lovie Smith, he was my linebackers coach in Tampa Bay. Almost every week, he would ask me, Hardy, you ever think about coaching? I'd be like, nah, coach, I'm not doing that. You guys are crazy. You guys spend all this time here, you never see your family, then you're running after us. No, you can have it. So that was my mindset. When I retired, I started coaching. My kids were coming up and they were doing sports. So it was nothing for me to volunteer as a coach. Then all of a sudden some of the parents would be like, Hardy, you're a pretty good coach. I'll be like, but have you ever thought about coaching? No, I'm not doing it. I'll help out with you guys, but I'm not doing it. So I ended up coaching softball, t-ball, softball, basketball, boys and girls, volleyball. I coach just about everything.
Oh, so we can plug and play.
Oh, yeah. You plug me in and you give me a couple hours, I'll get it down. No, I can coach it. So I started, my son started expressing some interest in playing football. And I was like, are you sure you want to do this? He said, yeah. And so that's kind of how I got into football. Now, in the meantime, Lovie Smith, we've been in constant contact. He invited me to do a minority internship, especially when he got his job at the Chicago Bears. And so I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'll do that. So I went, I did that, and I loved it. The internship was supposed to go for 1 week. I stayed 3 weeks. And when I left, I was like, oh man, I want to stay. But I had to go back and be with my family. So a couple years later, fast forward, he gets to the Super Bowl. The year after that, he has an opening at linebacker, and I'd always told him, hey coach, I'd love to come in and interview if you have a spot open. So he had that spot open. I came in and interviewed, and they hired me on the spot.
You nailed it, then.
I nailed it, yeah. So it probably didn't hurt that we had a prior relationship, coach-player relationship. So I coached there, and I was like, oh man, this is great. I coached Brian Urlacher, Lance Briggs. They had some great players.
That's some names.
Yes, but I got to coach a Pro Bowl all-pro player and a Hall of Fame player in my first year ever coaching at the NFL level. And it was such a blast. It was great to be around guys. They were just so hungry. And I felt like I was in another situation like when I was a rookie and those guys took me under their wing. So that was such a great experience, but I could only do it 1 year. So I left after with some family issues after 1 year with Chicago. I went back to be with my family. My daughter was gonna be a senior, and she had applied, or she was a senior. She applied to all these schools across the country, and she got accepted at UC Berkeley. So my wife and I
literally
are
coming
from
home.
Cal.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, we're all gonna go home with you. In the meantime, I continued to coach my son, train him, personal training, all that stuff. And so that was great. And then he asked me to coach, one of the coaches asked me to coach the linebackers for the Bishop O'Dowd Dragons. And I was like, I don't know. I said, Coach, my intent was to drop my son off, go play golf, come back, pick him up, and that would be it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So he asked me to help out. Next thing you know, I'm all in, bang. Because when I do something, I'm all in. I'm not a fence rider. I'm all the way in. So I went in, coached the guys up. At the end of that season, the head coaching job came available. There was a bit of a time lapse between old coach, new coach. I became the new head coach. And I coached those guys. I got a chance to coach my son as a head coach.
That's awesome.
Junior, senior year. Got a chance to coach I had about 20 kids that went on to college from back then, Pac-10, Ivy League, Big 12, just had kids out. And that was gratifying because you got to see guys move on to the next level. So my coaching, and it just went on from there. So after 4 years of Bishop O'Dowd, Coach Smith called me again.
Boy, he cannot get enough of you.
I know. He said, I'm going to Tampa Bay this time. And I was like, oh, do you need a linebackers coach? He said, yeah, I want to bring you along with me. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So there I got to coach Levante David, Mason Foster, and then we drafted Quan Alexander, who was a pretty darn good player.
Yes. Eventually went to the 49ers. So
eventually became a 49er. Yep. So that was great. Coached there 2 years, and then Coach Smith was released. From there I got an interview with the 49ers, and that was like, Lovey was released. Thursday I got contacted by the 49ers. Next thing I know, I'm on a flight, flying out to Northern California. I meet with them, interview. I get to the airport, I get offered the job. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be a Niner.
Pretty good.
I'm gonna be a Niner. So I'm there all of about 8 weeks. That was the year they had the Super Bowl there, and so the Broncos played the Panthers right there. So we couldn't be around the facility because all the Super Bowl festivities, and the facility is connected to their stadium, Levi Stadium. So we were working remotely, and then we came back after the Super Bowl. A couple weeks later, we go out to the NFL Combine. And after the Combine, Coach Smith calls me, says this time he wants me to be the defensive coordinator and associate head coach. And so I said, okay, coach. He twisted my arm again. He got me back in it. So I coached there for 2.5 years. And that was so much fun. It was stressful in that you have all your coaching duties and then the recruiting on top of it. So they gave me the state of California. They didn't realize how big the state of California is.
Just a couple people.
Just a few people, Yeah. So I was tasked with that. So I formed a lot of relationships from Roseville down to Chula Vista. Just formed a lot of relationships, got the recruiting, all that, and got some good recruits for the program. But yeah, so I did all that, and it was quite stressful. My health was diminishing, And so I stepped away because of some health issues. And I just kind of sat back. The pandemic came and went. Then after that, I got back in at the high school level. Some friends of mine called me up and said, "Hey, Bishop O'Dowd is open. Let's go have some fun." So at that point, I'm just like, yes, fresh off the pandemic, I'm house sick. I'm stuck, sick of being in a house for days at a time. And it was an opportunity for me to get out with some friends and have some fun coaching again. And my son came along with me. So when we did that, when I took over there, I said, "Okay, H2, you're gonna coach defense. I'm gonna leave you guys alone. I'm going over to offense, and we're gonna get after you every day in practice." So I started talking smack to him. So that's how I ended up back at Bishop O'Dowd.
Something I've noticed, there are no closed roads with you. When you form a relationship, you never know where it might lead.
You never know where it might lead, you know?
Now, you at Bishop O'Dowd, and for those that don't know, Bishop O'Dowd, the Dragons in Oakland, California, great program. You guys, this past football season, started out 1-3.
1-3, yes.
And at 1-3, you know, you're kind of on that last lifeline. Hey, we got to turn this around real quick, or else things could go in a different direction.
Yeah.
Things went in a different direction. They went in a really good direction that ended up as a Northern California champion, a regional champion, and then eventually a state champion at all three levels there. When you look back at this past year and you saw that success, where it came from, again, 1-3, there might not be a lot of more time to turn things around.
Yeah.
What does that say about you as a coach and the message that your players were able to receive?
You know, being resilient, not looking too much at the circumstances. I mean, there are a lot of influences out there right now, especially for our young people, with social media, especially. You know, everybody's looking at their phone, wanting to see the latest. Oh, yeah. But what I focused on with our kids was staying focused on our process. And reinforcing that each and every week. Just staying with the process. Keep working hard. When you work hard, things are going to pay off. You know, that's what I learned back in high school. You put in the work, and eventually you'll see the fruit of it. And so me and my staff, we just kept hammering that. Keep putting in the work. And sure enough, things just, you know, some coaches called things just gelled for us and start clicking. And once we started going, we couldn't be stopped.
As an Oakland native, I know, you know, Bishop O'Dowd very well. And I know that community so excited to have a football champion there again at all those different levels. Yeah. As you end the season there as a champion, there's just a little bit of time, and all of a sudden there's a new opportunity that comes available, and you are now at the forefront of a new challenge here at JSerra Catholic High School. What was that decision process like for you when you sat down and you started looking at the opportunity to be in this community?
You know, I had an opportunity to sit down with my wife and talk to my kids. So we have 3 kids. They're adults, even though I call them kids. But they're all here in Southern California. One's in downtown LA, one's in Santa Monica, and Hardy had just moved here over the summer. So it left me and my wife up in Northern California. So my kids are like, "Hey, Dad, JSerra has an opening. And I know Mom wants to move down and be around us. It would be great if you put your name in the hat." And so I thought about it. I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. That would be fun." Looking at other aspects of it, man, being able to coach in the toughest league in the country, the SEC of high school football.
Very much so.
I love challenges. So the challenge of coaching in the best league around, coming to just one of the best schools in the state of California. When I looked at all those variables, I said, man, if it happens, if it's God's will, if it happens, boy, I'd be so excited about it. And it would just be great for me. And it's been all of that and more.
You talked about family, and obviously at JSerra Catholic High School, family is of the utmost importance here. To have that component so close to you, and then you come here and it's reinforced here with our school family. Just talk a little bit about how special that aspect of it is in terms of this is a place where you are inclusive. You do get to enjoy family. And then you have your work family here too. What is that like?
Oh, it's great. It's refreshing. Being part of this community has just been so welcoming from day one, and just being around this environment it's just been great. I'm thinking about all the experiences so far. Everything's just been like, man, this is so on it that it's such a blessing to be around it and to be part of it, and be able to coach in this community, in this environment. For me, it's just like it's been like a dream come true.
Now, if our community is getting to know you and wanting to know who you are as a coach and what style you'll bring for our student athletes here, and how you'll help them on their journeys, obviously to the collegiate level and then on to the professional levels if they make it that far. Who is Coach Hardy Nickerson? We know who he is as a player.
Yeah.
Who is he as a coach, and what is the value system that you hope to instill here?
I would say Coach Hardy is a man of God first, man of faith. Love the Lord, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I'm not afraid to say that. I live it. I'm a doer. You see it in my life. You see it in my family, and so this is just fantastic. I'm a man of faith. I'm transparent. I love my family. I put, my family's right up there, and I like for people to see the relationship I have with my son, with my daughters, with my wife, and say, man, that's special. I want that. And when I was growing up, I was talking to one of my high school teammates, and we started talking about my dad, and he said, man, your dad was such a role model for me. And I said, how did that happen? He said, well, every practice we look in the parking lot, because from the parking lot you can see the football field. Mm-hmm. Every practice your dad was there. And he said, that inspired me to do the same thing with my kids. So I want my walk. That was my example with my dad. I want my walk to be that type of an example for everybody I encounter, and especially for these young men here. So that's important to me. That's me. How am I as a coach? I'm demanding. I'm all about accountability, being reliable. You say you're gonna do something, do it. And I'm about execution. We've got to execute at the highest level. So I hold players to standards, the highest standards. And that's me as a coach. When it comes to football, I have a couple core values, and that's effort, toughness, and enthusiasm. Every player can control their effort level. They can control how tough they are, how resilient they are. The team, Bishop O'Dowd, the team I had last year, 1-3 start. You got to be resilient. You got to be tough to come out of that. You got, and there's some battling you got to do to come out of that. So being tough, and then I'm enthusiastic. I get fired up about the workouts. I get fired up about the meetings. I get fired up to watch film. And I want that to be contagious for our players and our football program.
Well, Lion Nation, we are so excited to have Coach Hardy Nickerson here. We look forward to Football Fridays, being here at JSerra Catholic High School, and it's been a pleasure to hear your journey from Verbum Day back here to San Juan Capistrano. Coach Nickerson, thank you so much for your time. We know you're just getting started here, and again, we're so excited to have you, and we look forward to some great things happening here.
Thank you, Jason.